consists of 51 judicial officers of the cadre of
Okay.
judges working at different places, and they are now undergoing training at the academy. They're imparted training on different subjects of law, both on civil and criminal. We're guided from time to time by the patron in chief of the academy, the Chief Justice, the President of the Academy, Justice Rajshekar Reddy Garu,
Okay.
the members of the governing body, Justice Kodanram Garu, Justice Sridev Garu, from Telangana High Court, and Justice Rajani Garu, Justice P.V.S. Somayal Garu, two judges from Amaravati High Court from time to time. And they guide us about the curriculum and syllabus to be taught to the trainee officers. They asked us to include the subjects relating to professional ethics, etiquette, manners, and also personality development, so as to enable the trainees to overcome their tricks and foibles and the human prejudices and biases, so as to mold themselves into an effective judicial officers, Swami.
Yeah.
In this endeavor, we arranged the lectures from the former High Court judges, and you are the person chosen by us for this session to impart the training to the judicial officers to relieve themselves from this stress and strain and to develop their personality skills. And it's a privilege to have you as our resource person for today's lecture, Swami.
Yes.
I request the participant judges to deliver the best out of this lecture. And I further request them not to disturb the resource person during the course of the session and to wait for the time allotted for interaction at the end of the session if they have any doubts. Thank you very much. Now I request for
What is the time, this one duration?
from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m.
12:30.
12:30, Swami.
Okay.
Thank you, Swami.
So,
I request you
yeah.
to commence the session, Swami.
Is my audio okay?
Yes, Swami. It's very much audible.
Audio is okay. Okay. Right. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sah Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Namaste to all of you, and namaste to Sri Bhupati Garu, and my namaskars to Justice Kodandramji for making this arrangement to interact with all of you this morning. I am very happy to share some thoughts with all of you. As announced by Bhupati ji, I am Swami Bodhamayananda from Ramakrishna Math in Hyderabad. So before I go into the main subject, Ramakrishna Math Hyderabad is very famous, very well known for all its activities dealing with youth, dealing with other people, especially the Institute of Human Excellence. It has got a very wide area of topics, from a 5th standard boy to a PG student. And also, it deals with professionals, executives, judiciary, and so many other departments in the society. So ours is a 20-year-old Institute of Human Excellence, which is a unit of Ramakrishna Math Hyderabad. It started with an idea that people talk about engineering excellence, medical excellence, auditing excellence, chartered accountancy excellence, and judiciary excellence, so on and so forth, at professional level. But what is expected is the foundation, the base, the content, the core being, which is called human excellence. So, Shrestha Purushaha, that is the Anuvadam, Shrestha Purushaha, not just being good, not just being a great man, an excellent man in work, but what we want is Shreshtata, better than the best, and with that positive qualities and the divine qualities which is expected in our tradition, in our parampara, in our unique history of our country. So human excellence plus your professionalism. You can be a driver, you can be an IAS, you can IPS, you are in the judiciary, somebody is in medicine, doctors. Combine that human excellence in life and see the magic that India can weave in the whole world. So ours is aiming at that human excellence. So we are successful in training about 17 to 18 lakh people in the whole 20-year period, all over the twin states, and people from other parts of the country also. So Hyderabad is fortunate, and we are trying to do our best for giving this human excellence values to the younger generation and to the professionals. Well, since you're all in the judiciary, getting trained, getting little more knowledge and exposure to all the senior judges and your rules, regulations, law, etc. Ramakrishna Math, some of you might have come here in your student days, or there's opportunity when things become better, when the movement increases in the city. If you are here in Hyderabad or anywhere nearby, you can come and visit our place. As much as the Chief Justice or the other judges and advocates come to us, interact with us. It is a 124-year-old organization started by Swami Vivekananda in Kolkata on May 1st, 1897. So this is an organization, a spiritual organization, not an NGO normally. We do seva, we do spiritual service to the people, understanding the divinity, understanding the value system, the coreness, the pureness in everybody, and bring it out and worship God in man. Shivagnane Jiva Seva. As they say in Telugu, Manava Seve, Madhava Seva. So Vivekananda gave us a mission statement. As you know, every company, every industry, even the parliament has got a mission statement. Satyameva Jayate, Sahanavavatu, and Yoga Karma Sukhaushalam, etc., taken from our scriptures. So Ramakrishna Math and Mission was given a mission statement by which we stand, by which we work, by which we continue our seva to the society. It is called Atmano Mokshartham Jagat Hitaya Cha. Atmano Mokshartham Jagat Hitaya Cha means for the liberation of oneself, for the moksha of oneself, and service of the society, welfare of the society. We are serving the society. I'm not trying to change the society. I'm not trying to break and make. I'm just giving a seva, a training, a purification of the society, and country will take care of itself. People will take care of itself. Students, children, women, professionals, judges, advocates, chartered accountants, so on and so forth. Big, diverse activities that we have in our society. So Ramakrishna Math is working from that point of view, and I'm just giving you a big picture of a canvas. Our life is like a canvas, my dear friends, and on the canvas we add colors, we add pictures, we paint, we may change it. That is our personality, our own contribution to the society. So they have asked me to share some thoughts on stress management and our value system, etc. And all of you have come a long way in your life from LKG to this professional training in the judiciary of Telangana and Andhra. So it's a good opportunity. Your dharmadhikaris will be in different positions in different cities, towns, mandals, and districts of the country, and rise up in life to make a beautiful bouquet of fragrance of peace, joy, strength to the whole society. So in the beginning, I just made a small prayer, which is from our Veda, Rig Veda, common prayer, universal prayer. Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu. What does it mean? May He protect us both, the teacher and the student. Sahana Bhunaktu. May He nourish us both, the teacher and the student. Sahaviryam Karavavahi. Whatever we do, let us do it with strength, or let it give us strength, let it bless us with strength. Let the Supreme Being in any name or form bless us with strength. Viryam, Sahaviryam Karavavahi. Strength is life, weakness is death. Tejasvi Navaditamastu is not just strength that is enough. We need brilliance, we need prakasham, we need Atma Jyoti to manifest. We don't need always, when there's no floodlight, when there is no room light, but yet you see a dream, you see dreams with light, with colors, and you are acting a different role. How does it come? Because of the inner light. That is the yoga psychology. So that approach is in our hands. Sahaviryam Karavavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu, Mahavidvishavahai. The sages of India gave a warning. Let there not be misunderstanding between us. Let there not be any what you call diversification between us. Let us work together in unity, in service of the society. That was the teacher-student relationship which has come down as the academies and the residential schools and the training centers, the Musauri Academy for IAS, etc. That is the Guru Shishya Parampara that we have derived in our culture. So now, let me start off with Swami Vivekananda, who was the pioneer of tremendous nationalism of spirit, that faith, that love, the affection of India. So he, as you know, lived only for 39 years and 5 months. That was all his lifespan. And within that period, 18 years at home with his father, who was interestingly, a very leading lawyer in Kolkata University, in Kolkata High Court, a barrister of great repute. And then he himself was a law student. He did not appear for the final exam because his plan of action, his field of action was different. So he embraced spirituality, embraced spiritual life under the guidance of his master, Sri Ramakrishna. And then Swami Vivekananda, for 5 years, underwent training, intense training, and Sri Ramakrishna was preparing him for something bigger, for the spiritual emancipation of the whole world, of mankind itself. And he traveled after his master's passing away 1886 for nearly till 1893, April. He travels the whole length and breadth of the country for 4.5 years, and spends time in understanding India, past, present, future. And culmination comes at Kanyakumari in 1892, December 24, 25, 26. His meditation on India's past glory, present decadence, and the future regeneration. So that is a unique meditation. I request all my friends in the Judicial Academy undergoing training. I understand you are young people who have come after your law exams, etc., and appeared for this training. So it will do you a lot of good to understand India, not just the political India or the geographical India, but the spiritual India, so that your interaction with the people will become much matured, will become joyful and much vibrant. You will make a lot of difference in the country. I am sure about it. So, Swamiji's meditation, then his decision to go to the West, and how he left for America in 1893 to participate in the Chicago Parliament. 4 years there, then what I call his observation, his understanding of the American spirit, the success of Americans at the time itself, inviting the whole world, the Sangha Shakti, the teamwork that he experienced there, and he wanted that to come to India. And that is why he said, I'm going to start an organization in the name of my master, preaching the gospel of salvation, the gospel of hope, the gospel of social raising up, the gospel of equality, wiping the widow's tears and elevating the soul from its mundane, its bodily, its animality to humanity, and humanity to divinity. That was his goal. That was our work in Ramakrishna Mission, Ramakrishna Mutt and Mission. So 4 years there, 1897 comes back and starts the organization and spreads the message, and again starts some centers in India, in Chennai, in Calcutta, in Almora, in New York, and 10 centers when he was alive. And today, Ramakrishna Mutt has got 213 branches. In Telangana, we have only 2 official branches, 5 in Andhra Pradesh, and that website, I'll tell you, all of you can visit the website in the evening or later when you get time and get more knowledge of what our institution is, what our organization is, worldwide organization. The website name is BELURMATH.org. That is the website of the entire Ramakrishna Mutt and Mission, the headquarters in Kolkata, called Belur Mutt. BELURMATH.org. BelurMutt.org. It connects you to the whole world, the background, the future, the plans, the relief operations, the education, the medical services, the philosophy, everything is given in that website. And Hyderabad is just developing a new app and new website, but some old videos and the latest lectures are all uploaded in our YouTube called RKMATH.org. So, now coming to the main topic, I'll just start off with a story of a carpenter. There was an elderly carpenter in some place. He was working in a shop, and he told his boss that he wanted to retire. He was a good carpenter, but the boss felt unhappiness on losing this carpenter. But the carpenter insisted that he should retire. He wants to spend time with his family, and they would get by. So the paycheck was given and the account was settled, and the boss, the owner, requested this retired carpenter to just build one more house. Just build one more house for him. The carpenter started, he said, agree to the boss. He started building that house, but it was very easy to see. People were seeing that the carpenter said yes, but it was easy to see that he was not concentrating on his work. He was not concentrating on his work. He was not using the good material, the nails or the Fevicol or the wood, which was all of inferior material, and it was a very unfortunate way to end a dedicated career. The carpenter finished that house, the wooden house, after some time and handed over the key to that owner. Said, sir, I'm taking leave of you. Goodbye. But the owner called him back and patted him on the work that he has done, the last work, and said, my dear friend, this is your house. It is my gift to you. This is my house. It is your house. It is my gift to you, and handed over the key to that house, key of the house to this carpenter. Now, all of you will understand, mature people, the carpenter was in for a shock. He was literally shocked. He became dumb and numb. And if he had only known he was building his own house, how different it would have been. He was just doing his work, but he was not keeping his mind and heart there. So he used that inferior material. If he thought that it would be his house, he would use good material, etc. But the damage has been done. So he cannot go back. So it is with us, my dear friends. So it is with us. We build our lives one day at a time, and we are not, or we may not be able, we may not be putting the best efforts, the best material, the best philosophy, the best resources in our house. Then we are in for a shock. Nature gives us that this one gift back to us, and we have to live in the house which we have built. If we could go back, We would have done things better, but we cannot go back. We have to accept the pain, accept the misery, accept it, and maybe take care of our life in the future. So you are the carpenter of your life, my dear young friends. Each day you hammer a nail, you place a board or erect a wall. Your attitudes, which are 90%, will make a difference. They will help you to take a good choice or a bad choice. And you have to build your house for a better tomorrow. The preparation is important. The psychology is important. Therefore, please build your house wisely. Please build your house wisely. Use your vivekam, use your discrimination, use your detachment philosophy, and march on towards excellence. So take the help of a coach, take the help of the divine, make God the shock absorber of your life, and go forward. It's not atheism, it is not theism, it is not puja, it is not any ritual that I'm talking about. It is installing a shock absorber in your subconscious mind. If there is no shock absorber, if there is no base on which you have to stand, the greater will be the fall, as Jesus Christ has mentioned. A man built a house on rock and built it nicely. The rains came, the winds blew, and there was no destruction to the house. Somebody built a house on sand, the rains came, the wind blew, and the great was the fall. So our life should be built on certain value system, certain ecosystem, certain traditions which our great country has given us. So this is a wonderful story which we have to understand as we progress in life. The next point I want to tell you is how much of the potentiality is there, how much of the divinity is there. I'm just going to give you a definition. What exactly we have to do to gain a stress-free, a tension-free, an anger-free, and a what I can say, the life without distractions. And thanks to technology, I am able to interact with you online, and to the Cisco WebEx provided by the management, by Bhupati Garu and others. And what is this effect that we are having in the whole world? Last 3 months, the corona pandemic, the corona infections, the corona COVID-19 play, it is creating havoc. It will create more havoc in our own country. Every day 4,000 cases are rising, but the life has to go on, as they say. But what is this effect? It is our own arrogance. It is our own exploitation of nature, left, right, center, mercilessly. And the virus took its effect. What we are eating, the attitude behind our eating, where we are working, and all this put together is this big bomb that has come on our head. You may not have experienced the World War I, World War II. Maybe your grandfather must have experienced the pain during the World War II. And what happened in 1944 is very tragic. The Japan being bombed by the Americans, the atomic bomb, and the massive destruction of the Jews by Hitler. That all started with that Hitler's campaign against the Jews, attacking Poland, and then whole world participating in that massacre of humanity. So the effect is still there. Then we have the Cold War between Soviet Union and America. Then we have the Vietnam War. Then we have the Afghanistan War. Then the Iraq War, and so many things happening because the ego of a few people, lack of the sensitivity in the mind of the people. So we are passing through a crisis, as it were. And now, after this, the psychology is of the economic crisis and the health crisis, the family crisis. And many will be rushing towards the courts, husband and wife rushing towards the courts, companies rushing, the employees rushing. The court will have a very heavy load of work. Already lakhs of cases pending, but then it will be adding problem to the problem. We are not solving the problem, we are shifting the problem, we are postponing the problem. So I'm going to share with you, as young future, should I say, the judges, the advocates, and the protectors of dharma, of law in our country. Each soul is potentially divine. Please keep this in mind if you are writing down or if you are having the habit of making some small notes. It may be recorded, this talk, but as an interaction with all of you, let us not lose the focus. Each soul is potentially divine. Statement number one. The goal is to manifest the divinity within. The goal is to manifest the divinity within by controlling nature, internal and external. By controlling nature, internal and external. Do this either by work or worship or psychic control or philosophy. I repeat again, control external nature and internal nature either by work, worship, psychic control or philosophy. By one or more or all of these and be free. This is the whole of religion. Other things are secondary details. Books, temples, churches, forms, dogmas are all but secondary details. What is important is freedom. Are you free? Are you free? Are you free? It's not freedom for the senses, it is freedom from the senses. It is not doing whatever I like. It's not talking whatever I like. With that culture, with that education, with that purity of mind, am I executing my work in the court, in my house, in the college, in the university, in the police department? That is the real challenge. So you are potentially divine, I am potentially divine. The nature is potentially divine. That is where sarvatra samabhava, sarve bhavantu sukinaha, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. May all be happy, sarve sarvatra. From the ant till the elephant, from the baby till the Pradhana Mantri, sarve sarvatra. So this unity in diversity has to be cultivated by controlling external nature and internal nature. Bahya prakriti, manasika prakriti. This has to be fine-tuned. External nature, your work, your family, your wife and children, your husband, your spouses, your parents, so on and so forth. External nature has to be taken care. It has to be on the track. And then internal nature is your emotions, is your desires, is your memories, is your relationships with yourself and with others. These are all to be taken care of. How to do it? The goal is okay, but what is the process? Process is fourfold. One is work, which is called in our language karma yoga. Second, worship, bhakti yoga. Third, psychic control, dhyana yoga or meditation. Fourth, philosophy or gnana yoga. Karma yoga, bhakti yoga, gnana yoga, and raja yoga, which is also called dhyana yoga. Take one, take two, or combine all the four in your life and be free. That is the whole of religion. I'm not speaking about Hindu, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist. That's all right. That is we are born into that. We are not going into that discussion now. So I'm speaking about religion for freedom, because religion is the manifestation of the divinity already in man. Now, what is the first line? Each soul is potentially divine. What is the definition of religion? It is the manifestation of the divinity already in man. What is this divinity? Wearing a crown, wearing some mala and decoration and sitting in a high pedestal? No. Manifest the divine qualities. 24 divine qualities are there, gentlemen and ladies here, my brothers and sisters. 24 divine qualities. How do I know it? Is there any book? Is there any reference for it? Yes, there's a proof for it, called the Bhagavad Gita. The 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is called Daivasura Sampat Vibhaga Yoga, the division of the demonic and the divine qualities. The first three slokas deal with the divine qualities, the Daivi Sampat, as Sri Krishna puts it. It is for everybody. 24 qualities. Take on an Excel sheet and measure yourself. It is at least like checking yourself. It is like your entrance test. It is like your Final test. It is like going forward in life with success. How much of fearlessness you have, how much of knowledge-based action that you have, how much of dhamma, daya, uh, free from anger, free from ego, these qualities take you to the manifestation of the divinity. So you can combine these four in life, or there are some people who take up only karma yoga, selfless work, nishkama karma yogis they become. I request all of you, since you'll be studying a lot of books, a lot of laws, and a lot of constitution material for your work, I request all of you to study the book called Karma Yogi. The Karma Yogi, it's available, I think, in Kindle or it may be online nowadays. It is the biography of the metro man, Mr. E. Sridharan. E. Sridharan, who built the Delhi Metro, who built the Konkan Railway, and the Lucknow, Jaipur, and all that fantastic work. And within 47 days, the Rameshwaram Bridge, which was totally devastated in the cyclone, he built it up within 47 days, taking only 1,000 rupees salary. There's something unique in that man who is just 84 plus, living in Thiruvananthapuram. So, my dear friends, the Karma Yogi, he took up the Karma Yoga. That is how he is respected and is taken as a guru by many, many young engineers in the country. Similarly, before you may read Balagangadhar Tilak, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, or the great barristers, great lawyers of excellence, of character, of tremendous sacrifice for the country. They combined this yoga philosophy. Even Gandhiji, who was the barrister in South Africa, he took up Bhagavad Gita as Anasakti Yoga. And he changed the whole map of freedom struggle. And Gopal Krishna Gokhale and Lal Bahadur Shastri. Oh, who were all these? They were all your seniors, you may call, the greatest pioneers of Indian judiciary in the south, in the north, in the east, and the west. They were yogis in the court. So a doctor can become a yogi. The tailor can become a yogi. The housewife can become a yogi. As much as a watchman is a driver, the clerk, the cook, everybody can become a yogi. That is the divine qualities which are manifested. So when you are building up your life into yoga, not just yogasanas, please, for heaven's sake, don't restrict your thinking into thinking a yoga is only asanas. थोड़ा आसन कर दिया मैं योगी हो गया नहीं you won't become a yogi. You may become a rogi also. You may become a bhogi, enjoyer, or going into roga, into diseases. Immunity may reduce. Coronavirus is affecting people because the immunity is not there in the system. So that's why Ayush Ministry has given that kit for gaining that immunity, hot water and turmeric and all that kashayam kind of thing, which can give you immunity, which can create antibodies without a vaccine. It is possible. So we have to work on the immunity today. The shock absorber, the stress is all the virus today. So each soul is potentially divine. I'm just summarizing it. The goal is to manifest this divinity within by controlling nature, internal and external. Do this either by work or worship or psychic control or philosophy, by one or more or all of these, and be free. This is the whole of religion. Stress management is inner joy. Work may not reduce. Work may not reduce. Just because now coronavirus is affecting and we are in lockdown and we cannot see each other physically and have that interaction in the academy itself because of social distancing, and still there is a lot of fear and heaviness in the atmosphere. Have we stopped work? Online is going on. So the work will not reduce. It may increase also as the time progresses. But we have to have a shock absorber. We need to understand our potential divinity, my dear friends. So I'm just going to, I've prepared some 1 or 2 points for you, and I'm just going to share those things with you. The potential of the average person, or any general person, is like a huge ocean unsailed. The potential of the average person is like a huge ocean unsailed, a new continent lying unexplored. You have not gone into the depth of the ocean. You might have gone to the beach in any part of the seacoast, in Andhra or Maharashtra, anywhere, So you stand on the beach. Does it mean you understood everything in the ocean? Have you understood the depth of the ocean? No, it is just theoretical. You might have seen a video, you might have seen a movie of dealing with ocean and navy, etc. That's all. You have not experienced it. But there's a science of diving deep. The sailors and the navy, they understand the depth of the ocean. They are at a better position. We are not. We are afraid of the water. We may enjoy the water, but a high wave is rushy, hitting the coast, coming at a good speed during the rainy season or cyclone, 5 feet, 10 feet. Can we stand in front of it? We run 50 kilometers and save ourselves. We are so weak before nature, as much as this coronavirus, which said, shut your mouth and close your nose and sit inside. Before nature, you and I, nobody is permanent or strong enough to face nature. You have to be going down to nature, you have to go with nature, develop that harmony with yourself and go. So it's like a huge ocean unsailed, a new continent it is unexplored, and a world of possibilities waiting to be mastered, waiting to be released, waiting to be channeled towards some great good. So that energy has to be brought out. That is sadhana. That is life. And what is life? Coming to the point now, life is the unfoldment and development of a being under circumstances tending to press it down. I repeat again, life is the unfoldment and development of a being under circumstances tending to press it down. In this context of why we are under stress, why we are not able to execute our higher responsibilities, is because our goal is very limited. Just a little job, or a little marks, or a little position, name, fame, a little bank balance. Maybe I need 2 or 3 cars. The whole society is running behind that mirage. That fulfillment is not there. So build huge buildings, and now you see in the high-tech city side, what are the buildings doing? Empty, hardly 5 people, 10 people there. Massive structures of the IT industry, of the other factories, etc. Our needs are very little, but we have built so much in the hope of conquering entire nature. The pandemic has said, sit at home and do your work, don't come out. So our goal is only at the external level, only to achieve matter, money, and other positions in life. But the inner goal is in for a toss. Now it has time has come, and people have got time to understand their strength, understand their weaknesses, and build upon the strength and reduce the weaknesses. That is called self analysis or self introspection. There's a very famous lecture by the former American president Barack Obama. When first time he became the president, coming from a very ordinary background in Kenya, Barack Obama was speaking to students in New York, which I like that observation which he made to them. I would just share with you. Focusing your life solely on making a buck shows a certain poverty of ambition. It asks too little of yourself, because it is only when you hitch your wagon to something larger than yourself that you realize your true potential. Our aim is, if it is only for making a buck, making just a few rupees, then it is in for stagnation. We're just lowering our dignity, lowering our personality, lowering our standard of thinking. If that aim is, our vehicle is hitched to a higher purpose, a divine purpose, then we realize our true potential. What is the true potential? Manifest the divinity, and everything around you will be harmoniously arranged. Manifest the divinity, and everything around you will be harmoniously arranged. This is what our dharma is. This is what personal law is. When you look at life from that perspective, then the dharma will become a bridge. Amritasya setu. The bridge is called the bridge of immortality. Amritasya setu. That is why we chant prayers, the famous shloka from the Upanishad. Asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrutyorma amrutangamaya. Gamaya, in that path, O Lord, please lead me from the unreal to the real. Lead me from darkness to light. Lead me from death to immortality. Gamaya is the path. But I need a guru, I need a coach, I need anugraham of the Lord to take me forward. Now, point number one, as far as our potentiality and manifesting it and reducing the tensions and the ego and the jealousies, the lust, the greed at the personal level. Point number one, please note, my dear friends, you should develop a healthy and pure self-image of oneself. A healthy, pure self-image of oneself. When you see the mirror in front of you, when you see your face in the mirror, what do you see? Your face. Why? Why do you see a mirror? You need to see a mirror to check your mistakes, to check your face, to make it beautiful, to comb your hair, etc., etc. Mirror, mirror, mirror. But do you have a mind mirror? That is very important. We have to install the mind mirror, just as I install antivirus system to my computer, to my laptop, not to get affected. And for the coronavirus, we have got this social distancing and not moving about freely. Yes, before. This is at present. Medicine is not there. Research is going on. So I should have a pure self-image. That is the first identity. Not that you are in the Judiciary Academy, not that I'm in Ramakrishna Mutt, or somebody is in an engineering college or a medical college, or your principal in the law college. That is the external manifestation. But please install a self-image, a mirror image of yourself, which tells you, which will be your inner friend. Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter, Dhyana Yoga it is called. Krishna is telling Arjuna, the mighty Arjuna, the commander, the Kshatriya, the Dharma Rakshaka of the Pandavas. He is told by Sarathi, Partha Sarathi, Gita Acharya as Uddhared Atmanatmanam Natmanam Avasadayet Atmaiva Yatmano Bandhu Atmaiva Ripuratmanaha. Raise yourself by yourself, O Arjuna, because you are your own friend, you are your own enemy. Atmaiva Hyatmano Bandhu. If stress is cooperating with you and you're able to do a lot of hard work without getting irritated or upset or getting wild, that is, you are your own friend. If the opposite takes place, you are your own enemy. Don't complain, don't grumble about the environment. It is the mind which works on this. That's why I said your self-image should be pure, should be healthy, and should be the divine attitude should be cultivated. So to become strong, to become little more understanding of yourself, I refer to the Bhagavad Gita again, which is a manual of solving all our ills of the society. Second chapter. First chapter is Arjuna's stress, Arjuna's confusion, Arjuna's dilemma, dharma, adharma, to fight or not to fight, to work or not to work. Why should I do all this? I don't want to enjoy this wealth. I don't want to kill my own relatives. That was his dialogue. That was his confession before Sri Krishna. But Krishna, the mighty teacher that he was, gave us a very beautiful 4 lines in the second chapter. It applies to everybody, to a student as much as to the professional. So my dear friends, he said, Kutastva kashmalamidam vishame sampastidam anaryam asvargyam akirtikaram Arjuna. What are you doing? What are you trying to show? Anaryam, not like a gentleman. Asvargyam, heavens also will reject you because you have gone into that narrow-mindedness. And what is important is akirti. People start criticizing you. The man of work, man of responsibility, he is escaping. He is going to an ashram and sitting and doing bhiksha. No, that is not his station of work. He has to take up responsibility. Krishna is surprised at Arjuna's stress and tension. So, kutastva kashmalamidam vishame samupasthitam. Second, now the action comes, the energy comes. Energy is pure energy, it is not wild energy. Krishna is telling him, Klaibyam masmagamah partha, naitatva ipapadyate, shudram hridaya daurbalyam tyaktva, uttishta parantapa. Take up this weakness, hold it in your hand. Shudram hridaya daurbalyam. This hridaya daurbalya, this weakness, is not your cup of tea. It's not your dress, it is not your mind. You have imported it, you are hypnotized by something unreal. Hridaya daurbalyam tyaktva, discard it. Uttishta, arise, O scorcher of the enemies. That was a jolt for Arjuna. That was a nice shake. Somebody is in delirium, somebody is confused, somebody is we have to give him a shake, we have to give him the nutrition, we have to give him that immunity. And then he rises, then solve the problems by consultation and by system. So this Uttishta, Vivekananda gave to the whole world, gave to the country, which was so low, has lost its faith, has lost its Shraddha, and he comes out with a blazing fire. He says, Uttishta Bharata, awaken, O India. Uttishtata, Jagrata, Prapyavara Nibodhata, he had mentioned. Arise, O scorcher of the enemies. Arise, O India. So that is what we have to do. Develop a healthy, pure self-image. There's a beautiful observation by Emerson, the great American writer and thinker, and he was inspired by the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita and Indian culture. He wrote Emerson's essays, very famous. Many people refer to that in their talks. Emerson's essays on self-reliance, on concentration, on discipline, etc. He says in one place, what lies before us and what lies behind us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. And you are the only one who can use your ability. It's an awesome responsibility. Emerson. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. And you are the only one who can use your ability. It's an awesome responsibility. Ralph Waldo Emerson. So do not search for the right thing in the wrong place. When there are diamonds hidden in your heart, so many, nearly 52 of the young, dynamic future Dharmadhikaris are there in front of me, listening to me. And you should not be searching for the right thing in the wrong place. There's a humorous story told by Sri Ramakrishna about how our mind itself will be a culprit. It can break or it can make. It can take you to Mount Everest or it can take you to jail. It pushes you. The untrained mind will pushes you for its desires, for its ego satisfaction, and do a crime and bribe and corruption. And you people will be in trouble later, deciding, arguing, debates, and all that stuff. Anyway, Sri Ramakrishna says, there was this man who wanted to smoke in the middle of the night. He has got a habit, village poor man. He wanted to smoke a cigarette and he saw the matchbox was empty. Matchbox was empty. He was a poor man. He did not have lighter. So he thought, let me go to the neighbor's house and borrow a matchbox at 1 o'clock in the night of all place and time. So to go, dark night, no street light, a village, not electricity, not there. So in the villages, there will be a lanterns outside for them to go to toilets, etc. So there was a lantern, a kerosene lantern lamp with a tiny flame that lowered it. And he thought, oh, let me use this lamp and go to my neighbor's house. And he takes that lamp, increases the flame of the lamp, and then he walks all the way to the neighbor's house with the help of that light, knocks the door at 1 o'clock. The neighbor is rubbing his eyes and woken up, disturbed, says, why are you disturbing me? And that neighbor said, this man said, please give me a matchbox, sir. I want to have a smoke. I want to light up my cigarette. And that neighbor was so furious. Do you think he gave a matchbox? He gave him a slap and said, you fool, with the lamp you are coming to my house for a matchbox without using that fire inside? Oh, sorry, sir. Thank you, sir, he says. Damage has been done. His sleep gone, neighbor's sleep gone, and got a slap also as a gift. So we are searching for the right thing in the wrong place, holding the truth, holding that strength of overcoming stress and social evils, we are going round. We are in a mirage, as it were. So that is where discrimination, that is where little buddhi has to be awakened. So search for the right thing in the wrong, don't search for the right thing in the wrong place. So it is there. Be patient, focus on your abilities, on your potentiality, and have a pure, healthy self-image. The second thing that I want to share with you in the next few minutes, 5-10 minutes that I have, is deliberately, sincerely feed your mind with positive, divine, clean thoughts on a regular basis. Your subconscious mind should be filled up with pure, divine, and positive thoughts on a regular basis. So your life will become so pure and divine. Bhadram Karane Vishnuyama Devaha. Oh Lord, help me to listen what is good. Help me to see what is good. Help me to speak what is good. These are all our common prayers in the our tradition. So anybody has got that prayer, has got that attitude. So we have to listen and see and do positive things in life. Because the tip of the iceberg, they say, is only 10% visible to the naked eye. The other 90% is below the water. Some of my friends listening to me may know this graphic. 90% above the water, 10% above the water, 90% below the water. The 10% is visible, 90% is not visible. The 10% is your communication skill. The 10% is your law of your graduation and other abilities, your behavior, your skills. But the other 90% is your inner attitude, is inner stuff. The content is important than the container. So what is inside matters. Your standards, your ethics, your motives, your values, your judgments, your personality. This is matters. Personality development, we call and we say persona, the Spanish word called mask. You're wearing a mask. So remove the mask and out comes the divinity. Remove the covering of your inner, the external self, of your ego and lust and greed and jealousy. Out comes the purity. It's a process, not that it's a magic or by 1 o'clock you will become divine. No, you may start moving your journey. Start your journey with the help of a coach and this one. So deliberately fill up your mind. That recycling has to take place, irrespective of your ability and your responsibility. Today we talk about recycling plastic. You talk about recycling water, recycling garbage, recycling paper, etc., etc., etc. But are we talking about recycling the mind? Are we purifying the mind? Are we training the mind? 90% of our thought force we are wasting. Swami Vivekananda says in a meditation class in America, 90% of our thought, it is so true. 90% of our thought force we are wasting. That is why man is committing blunders. Tappul మీద తప్పులు చేస్తే అది blunder అవుతుంది. So he's committing blunders. A trained man or mind never makes a mistake. So mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoh. What propels a man to do a crime? To rob, to kill, to corruption and bribery and all that stuff that you come across in judiciary. That you have to face people. You have to listen to the arguments of the law, their advocates, and go and give a proper judgment. Anyway, decide the future of that case. That is because the untrained mind is creating havoc. There are so many wonderful examples of this. So, have faith in yourself. Have faith that you're all my brave lads, born to do great things. Let not the barks of puppies frighten you. No, not even the thunderbolts of heaven, but stand up and work. This is Swami Vivekananda's exhortation to our nation. I repeat again, have faith that you're all my brave lads, born to do great things. That Atmabalam, Atma Vishwas, as we say. Let not the barks of puppies frighten you. No, not even the thunderbolts of heaven, but stand up and work. That is the Balam, Ashishto, Drudishto, Balishtaha. The strength, the energy, and the dynamism inside our mind has to be manifested. That is where yoga. Physically, you want to manifest, you become a sportsman by yoga. And intellectually, you want to manifest, you become a thinker, a writer, and a speaker, and a great decision maker. Mind develops. Morality, character, goodness, that will develop at the emotional level. And deep inside is the spiritual manifestation, is the divine manifestation that will come through deep meditation, prayer, and sadhana. And seva, of course. So, my dear friends, one more very interesting thing about thoughts, filling your mind with thoughts. Doing is very good. You may do a lot of work. But today in education, they say it's not education for doing, it's not education for having, but they are thinking about education for being, education to be, not education to have. Have is accumulation. Being a consumer, I want this, I want this. You will be known only by what you have. You will not be known by what you are. And what you do also doesn't matter as long as you are knowing yourself. If you know yourself and know and you can do wonders, that will be the real judgment day. You will be real Dikari in the position. So doing is good, but that comes from thinking. Alochana. Fill the mind, fill the brain with high thoughts, highest ideals, place them day and night before you, and out of that will come hard work. How will it come? Next point is this world that we are born, the lesson that we are learning from pandemic, the lesson that we are learning in judiciary, the lesson that I learn in monasticism, monastic life, by my elders, by my gurus. Why should I learn this? A child learned from its mother. Engineer learns from his boss. So this world is a great gymnasium where you are born, where I am born to make ourselves strong. This world is a great gymnasium where we have come to make ourselves strong, said Swami Vivekananda. So the Iron Man of India, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, he said, Iron Man, that strength that he had, mental strength and the physical toughness that he had to face any eventualities in the freedom movement. So we have to make ourselves strong because strength is life, weakness is death. So these are next thing, step number 3. First is what? Healthy, pure self-image of oneself. Step number 2, deliberately feed your mind with positive divine thoughts. Step number 3, to be dedicated and disciplined. Self-discipline. These are 8 parts of speech that I want to share with you. Number 1 is self-confidence. Start your day with I can, I shall, I will. Combine it with devotion. People have confidence. A robber has confidence. A criminal has confidence to kill, to exploit. Mafia, how much confidence? Oh, they can bulldoze everything, but that is harming the society. So my confidence is devotional confidence. I am confident, but I serve the society. Like A. Sridharan, or like any other great personality that we know, like Dr. Kalam, or so many other wonderful people that we have, the name it and we have it, wonderful people are there. So it is impossible to win the race unless you venture to run. Impossible to win the victory unless you dare to battle. Fight it out, Vivekananda says. Let the stars move from their sphere. Die game, he calls it a die game. We have come for that. Death means just a change of garment. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya namani grihnati naroparani. The soldiers on the borders of the country in Kashmir or in China border or in Saurashtra border against Karachi. Oh my goodness, how much of strength they have. And with this one, how many police are sacrificing their life, how much of strength people should have to face the eventualities. So it is not sitting and dreaming. You have to plunge, you have to work, you have to meditate, you have to dive deep and execute the goal. So it is it is impossible to win the race unless you venture to run, impossible to win the victory unless you dare to battle. The self-confidence will lead you to self-reliance. Atmasthiryam, just as the respected Prime Minister has told, self-reliant India. It was there, but the emphasis, the insistence, the reminder is necessary. Atmasthiryam, Atmavishwas and Atmasthiryam, to stand on your own feet and be men in the true sense of the term. So we have to make our own decisions today, our products today, and our life has to move on. Self-reliance. There are so many examples of self-reliance. I'm not going into the details, but I'm giving you the hints. You are grown up to do research on this. Self-reliance will take you to self-knowledge. Self-knowledge. What is your knowledge? Knowledge about yourself, man, woman, boy, girl, this kulam, that kulam, born in North India or born in Southern India, black color, white color. No, sorry, that is not our real nature. That's not our knowledge. That is information. But what is that knowledge? Shankaracharya beautifully puts it, Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Svabhavaha. This is your nature. Not your name, not your position, not your profession. Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Svabhavaha. Have that knowledge in front of you. With that knowledge, you enter into the court. With that knowledge, you sit in the judiciary chair to solve the problems of the country. What love, what milk and honey will flow. That is what all the great barristers and the great lawyers of India did from ancient times. That's what Swami Vivekananda did, or Sister Nivedita did, or Mother Teresa did, or Abdul Kalam did. What nature they understood. So self-knowledge, very important. By study of the Upanishads, by study of the great scriptures and thinking about it, you will gain more knowledge. It will be there in the pocket of your, in one part of your brain. It will guide you. It will give you the strength. Self-knowledge will give you, you have to practice it with self-control, self-discipline, control. So control is learning to put the brake at the right time in the right place. Not even putting sudden brake. That is the buddhi which tells you what to do, when to do, how to do, not to go to the neighbor's house for a matchbox in the middle of the night. Self-control. Sat, sanyama is called sanyama. Then self-control will give you the fifth position called self-esteem. Your value in the market will rise. Your value in life will increase, will get enhanced. As the flower blossoms, the fragrance, as the lotus blossoms, they say, the bees come invited. The bees come uninvited. And everybody runs to the pond. Oh, lotus has blossomed. How wonderful it is. How beautiful it is. You know. So that blossoming is what self-esteem. Not your cars, not your awards, and not your other fanfare. It is your esteem, self-esteem. That self-esteem will take you to the sixth level, which is called self-initiative. You become a leader in the market, leader in the society, leader in the court. Let it be lifting a piece of paper. Let it be guiding some clerk here and there. Self-initiative. Today we need that leadership. We need that commitment in the responsible people to guide the nation. And self-sacrifice, seventh. Tyagam, tyagam, tyagam. The national ideals of India are renunciation and service. Intensify her in those channels and the rest will take care of itself. Self-sacrifice. Your time, of course, you'll be very busy. You'll be discussing. You'll have to have your clerks and typing, writing. Work is there. Similarly, the soldier, similarly, the monk, similarly, everybody is working. But you have a higher responsibility, the judiciary. So, self-sacrifice. It's a question of maturity and time. Possible. It's not a mirage. It's not just cloud in the sky. Self-sacrifice will depend upon, last point, self-resolution, Dhrida Sankalp. So any amount of parliament bills, any amount of judiciary decisions, unless people take that resolution that you will follow it. And like a red signal, simple. I have decided I will not follow it because there won't be any policeman. I will just go and tomorrow challan will come to me. So that resolution is bad. Self-resolution is missing. It is only chaos. It will create more problems. So self-resolution is a bandwidth. So that within that bandwidth, you should execute your dharma. So these are some of the things we have to be inspired with that idea of this one. Then once my goal is clear, once my purpose is clear, I'm achieving this by dharma, by ethics, then what happens? The stress has gone. Any amount of work, day after day, I'm going to do. Take some rest. Reduce the speed as much as we have done last 2 months, 3 months, and still more we have to do. We have reduced the speed, but work is going on. This balance is maintained in nature. Samatvam yoga uchyate, yoga karmasu kaushalam, yoga chitta vritti nirodha. These are some of the definitions of yoga, of personality development, of Atma Vikas. So, my dear friends, I will end with a small quotation of Swami Vivekananda. Without that, we cannot end the talk. It's mature, it's so brilliant. Where he's talking to 7,000 people in 1897 in Kumbakonam. Kumbakonam town, the temple town in Tamil Nadu. There he is roaring like a lion in the open area. He said, teach yourself, teach everyone his or her real nature. Call upon the sleeping soul and see how it awakes. Power will come, glory will come, goodness will come, purity will come, and everything that is excellent will come when this sleeping soul is roused to self conscious activity. I read again, teach yourself, teach everyone. What? Other than the professional excellence, in the beginning I told you human excellence plus your professionalism. So teach that. Teach your juniors, teach your lawyers, teach the law students, teach the people through your suggestions, through your writings. Teach yourself, teach everyone his or her real nature. Real nature, I told you, what is that inside me? Atma. Atma is our language. Self, as it is translated. But it is not small s, it is the capital S. When I know that I am the Atman, any amount of burden or labor I am going to take. That is what every scripture, every great man deals with. Teach yourself, teach everyone his or her real nature. Atma, Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swabhavaha. Please make that your mantra. Think about it. Meditate on it. As you think, so you become. Slowly, mind absorbs. Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swabhavaha. Proclaim it without hesitation, without fear. And what will you get? Call upon the sleeping soul and see how it awakes. It's just an experiment. You have to just tickle a little. You have to just dig. It's like the Saraswati River, as they say. Just dig a little in the desert areas of where the Saraswati River, the water, it underlying in the earth. People have found it out. Or like the oasis, a little water digging. Just rouse that self-consciousness. Rouse that inner fire. And see how it awakes. It is your personal justification. So what will you get? What will I get if I do that? Power will come, glory will come, goodness will come, purity will come, and everything that is excellent will come when this sleeping soul is roused to self-conscious activity. Power, glory, goodness, purity, excellence will come. Will come means will come. It's a positive affirmative sentence. If Vivekananda did not use it, may come, shall come, or can come. No, will come. It is sure. It is proof. Sun rises, sun really rises. But we use that language. Sun rises and sun sets. It is the earth that is going round. Okay? And we are using this language, that's all. Sunset rises in the east. Where is sun rising in the east? We are going around the sun. We are going around our axis. So we will experience the truth as we mature. When the sleeping soul is roused to self-conscious activity. So the Paripurna Gnanam to Pancheste. Paripurna Gnan se kaam karna hai. Dignity, self-awareness. Then you are on the march. No stress, no tension, no worries. And our dharma, our badhyata, as they say, responsibility, our kartavyam to the service, to the nation, and to ourselves will become excellent. I request all of you to have a book called Call to the Nation in your bag, in your table, a small book of Swami Vivekananda. It is there online also. You can have that ebook of some teachings and then study that occasionally. Every day, maybe 1 page, 2 pages, and then meditate a little, build up your inner empire, become a Raja of yourself, and rishi outside or a rishi inside, a raja outside. Rajanascha rishayaschate raja rishi. Janaka Maharaja was a raja rishi. He was a king, no doubt, a lot of responsibility, but he was a sage inside, tremendous knowledge, tremendous discrimination and bodha he had. So Siddhartha became Gautama Buddha. A Narendra became Vivekananda. A fisherman's son becomes the president of India and the missile man, the metro man, and so many other wonderful people in every state we have got. Let us follow them. And you people, please spread this message, this fragrance of real nature to your friends and to your junior, seniors, friends, and let us awake from tension, fear, and make ourselves, what I should say, divine, and make this society pure and safe for people to lead a excellent life. So I wish and pray for your success, for your peace, for your health, not only you, your parents, your family members, and all other members in the judiciary. And I convey my thanks to Bhupati ji, to Kodandram ji for making it possible to share some thoughts with all of you. And here I conclude with Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrutyorma Amrutangamaya, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, Harihi Om Tat Sat. So thank you very much. Namaste. Once again, and over to Bhupati ji.
Swami, we are deeply beholden to express our heartfelt gratitude to you.
Thank you.
You spent much of your valuable and precious time for us.
Yes, yes.
Friends, my dear trainees, I hope you must have derived much strength from the message conveyed to you by Swami. What Swami insisted you is for excellence in performance of work. Bhukti-yukto jahatiha ude sushku dushkute tasmodjasya yogasya karmasya kausalam. What is yoga?
Yeah.
Yoga is nothing but showing excellence in the work. Swami already quoted another important sloka from Bhagavad Gita. Klaibyam masmagam partho naitattu upasite kshudram hudram tatva tista parantapa. That means you should leave your self-pity. You should realize your dark energies, your strength. This is all wanted by Swami. So you should realize all those things. Swami would have excelled much had he been given some more time.
That's okay.
I look forward for some more lectures from Swami. I once again express my thanks to Swami. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Any observations by your people? What they felt and how they felt? Any comments? Anything by the young people?
Anybody waiting to respond?
It would be nice to know how they reacted because I am not able to see them. I hope they have heard and just wanted their comments.
Any of you is at liberty to respond, to give your opinion about what you have learned.
Guruji, thank you so much, Guruji, for your.
Yes.
We all have got enlightened by listening to your lecture, and really thankful. And
Yeah.
it's really good enough. And how the attitude need to be, and how we need to be towards the society or towards the people, and everything.
Yeah.
It really helped a lot.
Thank you. You are from which place?
I'm from Hyderabad, Guruji, and I got
Okay.
posted as junior civil judge at Medak.
Okay. When you are next time when you come, please visit our center.
Yeah, sure, Guruji.
Thank you very much. Sai Kiranji.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Observations or lesson or anything that you want to clarify or?
Namaskar, Guruji.
Yes.
I'm Mahati Vaishnavi from Hyderabad.
Yes.
Got posted as junior civil judge in Mancherial.
In which place?
Mancherial.
Mancherial. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Your lecture was very enlightening, Guruji. It was very helpful for us
Yeah.
at this time where you have created, you have showed us a path to dwell in.
Yeah.
We felt very good and encouraging, Guruji.
Yes, yes. That's very important. Yes. Thank you. And please download that ebook, Call to the Nation. Vedanta ebook .org. We have a Chennai Ramakrishna Math or Advaita Ashrama books. It's available in Kindle, Amazon, Google. So that book, small things will help you to check where it is necessary. Swami Vivekananda's teachings on India and all that. Slowly you can build up your infrastructure. And hope to see you all in the personally and somewhere down the line, maybe next month or August, September, whenever you are passing through, or we have got our private samitis in Telangana, everywhere, in Andhra, yes, everywhere. And you can be in touch and be of little support to us in our work and in our programs. So let us spread this message of strength and peace and joy in the whole country.
Thank you, Guruji. Namaskar. Sadar pranams.
Yes, namaste. Okay. Anybody eager to say? Yes, somebody has come online. Okay.
Namaste, Guruji.
Yes, namaste.
This is Sharina from Warangal, Guruji.
Oh, okay.
Your lecture actually reminded me when I was in childhood, I read a book, Seven
Okay.
Stages of Swami Vivekananda. Where there
Yeah.
was one quote saying that when you have the ability to attach to something,
Yes.
and have the same ability to detach from itself also.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
In that way, self-control has to be maintained in the society.
Yes.
Thank you, Guruji, for reminding me the same.
Yes.
And it's got very enlightening and nice environment you created.
Thank you. Thank you. We hope to see you soon, either in Warangal or in Hyderabad. Thank you. Yes. There's one small message of strength in that book, Call to the Nation. A small book, just about 100 pages. Vivekananda says to all of us, go and preach to all, arise awake, sleep no more. Within each of you there is the power to remove all wants and all miseries. Believe this, and that power will be manifested. If you can think, that deep thinking, that penetration, that focus, like an injection, if you can think that infinite power, infinite knowledge, and indomitable energy lie within you, and if you can bring out that power, you also can become like me. So, in just 39 years and 5 months, Vivekananda had told, the man had told, that I have done enough for 1500 years. At that time, 19th century ending, without mobility, without communication, without emails, without mobile phones, no aircraft, planes also, only by ship and occasionally by trains. So how much work, how much of love that he had for our nation and for our people is something amazing. So all of you, please take this seriously and keep in touch. Any doubt, any question, my email is there with the sir. My phone number is there with Bhupatiji. You can keep in contact and let us be of mutual support and cooperation as a family to make things wonderful. There's another book called The Light of the Modern World. Light of the Modern World. It is the universal teachings of Sri Ramakrishna for present times. So it is also available in our online in form of an ebook. So you can download it and have a personal study. It's one of a senior monks, a senior scholar of the Ramakrishna order by the name Swami Bhajanananda. The Light of the Modern World. There, entire history and this one of different different parts of our country are dealt with, spirituality also. So as judiciary in different places in Medak or Warangal or Mancheriala or Hyderabad, anywhere, you will be very, very great, like a pillow, you know. People come tired, exhausted. When they just put their head on their mother's lap or a pillow, how happy they'll be. So that will be your contribution. That will be your great achievement, personal. You'll be growing and growing in a huge tree. And at the same time, you'll be giving shade to millions of people. So I wish so much is there for us to discuss, and hope we'll get more opportunities in the future to have interaction and more knowledge. Thank you very much. So Bhupati ji,
Thank you, Swami. Thank you very much.
so thank you. We disperse now, and convey my namaskars to Kodandaram ji and all that, and my greetings to all my young friends. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.